So in the beginning of the film we meet Henry, whose life is quite simple. Just from job to home. There was nothing exciting in his life, and his wife also complains about this to him. During these talks, there is a knock on the door and Henry goes to see that his friend Eddie had come outside, bringing his other friend who was very ill. Henry's wife calls him inside the house and gives him medicine, and Eddie gets upset and tells Henry that, "Friend, today we had a football match. Now we don't know how we will play." Eddie somehow convinces the poor tired Henry to become a part of his team, and these people leave. There were other people in the car whom Henry did not know. Eddie made Henry sit on the driving seat and stopped at a bank on the way and said, "Wait, I will come back after withdrawing some cash and you keep the car on." These people wore masks. Andre had no idea what their intentions were. The poor guy was sitting in the car and was confused whether the car looked stolen or not, or Eddie and the entire bank were looted from behind. Henry did not even know that they had fooled him and made him commit the crime by making him their driver. When the police got after them, they themselves ran away and the guards caught Henry, who was wearing the same shirt as them and was sitting in the stolen car at that time. The poor guy was caught without fault. Now the police were after him. Henry did not even know anyone's name except Eddie. Forget about the plan, he could not tell the police anything. And he was friends with Eddie. Following the rules of friendship, he did not even take Eddie's name in front of the police. And thus he was sentenced to 3 years. Inside the jail, Henry meets an old man named Max who behaves very well with him. Max used to talk a lot to Henry. One day he tells him that all the prisoners who have come here had some dreams which they wanted to fulfill, but bad luck brought them here. He asks Henry, "What is your dream?" So Henry replied after think a lot that I don't have any dream. Max got angry at this and said, "What kind of life is yours without dreams and motivation?" Henry, who had never thought so much about himself, became silent. Days kept passing and 6 months passed. One day Henry's wife came to meet Henry and she told Henry that she likes someone else. Henry felt bad, but still he did not say anything and told his wife that, "If you want to marry me then you can. For me only your happiness matters." He did not think about himself even once and freed his wife. On the other hand, people question Max that, "What do you tell the police in your releasing interview that you do not go out at all?" So Max laughingly says that, "When they ask me what will you do after going out? So I tell them that I will burn your house, kill stray dogs and create havoc. Because of this they put me in jail again." Everyone starts laughing at his words. Then Max tells that, "Actually I do not want to leave from here because this is my home." Well, time passes and Henry's sentence is ended before time because he was very decent. Even the biggest criminals used to praise him. He had spent his time in jail with respect. But Max told him that you can live here as decent as you want. But when you come out of jail, the world will consider you a criminal and nothing more than a criminal. At that time you will understand that your life has been ruined. Even while coming out of jail, Henry remembered this thing of Mix. He first goes to his ex-wife's house to take his things, and he comes to know that Eddie's friend who had come to his house in the beginning of the movie after falling ill. His wife married him and was now pregnant. This boy thanks Eddie because Eddie did not take his name in front of the police. However, he was also involved in the plan, and in return for this favor, he offers him a good deal in business. But Henry just thanks him and leaves from here. Well, now after a long time, he was standing in front of the same bank which ruined his life. He was thinking something when suddenly a car came and hit him. It is revealed that inside this car there was a girl named Julie who was upset because of Henry falling like this. At this time the guard of the bank comes and supports Henry, and he takes him to a nearby cafe. The guard had recognized him. The guard even asked him that, "You have come back." So Henry told that, "My punishment is over." Henry's mind starts to get confused and he goes to meet Max in jail the next day. He asks Julie, "I don't know why but I feel like you are a stranger." Julie doesn't give him any specific answer and leaves. After that Henry goes to the washroom. Inside this washroom, there was an old newspaper cutting which had a report of a bank robbery. The report explained, while showing the map of the bank, how a man had robbed the bank by entering the bank's locker room through a tunnel on the backside of the bank. This tunnel opens into a theater on the other side of the bank. Henry's mind starts to get confused and he goes to meet Max in jail the next day. He excitedly tells him that he has got his dream. He tells him that he wants to rob a bank. If I have already become infamous for robbing a bank, then why shouldn't I commit this crime? Max was not able to understand Henry's words completely. He asks him, "Why are you telling me all these things?" So Henry says, "I have a very great plan and I want to include you in this plan." In the next scene we see Henry in the theater, where he had gone to find out about the tunnel connecting to the bank, and there he sees Julie once again, who was rehearsing for her play. That is why the director scolds her. Julie goes from there to a cafe to improve her bad mood, where Henry also follows her. They sit together and drink coffee. Henry praises Julie's acting to improve her mood, and Julie also thanks him because she did not report the accident. On the other hand, Max applies for a release in the jail just for Henry and comes out of the jail after a day or two. Henry himself came to pick up Maximum. That too without any car or taxi, so Max gets upset and tells him that I did not come out of the jail to live a life of poverty and difficulty. Tell me, if you have to do all this, then I will go back to the jail. Food and water, friends, everything is free there. But Henry persuades him and brings him to the cafe in whose washroom he had seen the map of the bank. Max tells him that first of all we need to confirm whether that tunnel is still there or somewhere else. To find out this, both of them go to the bank, and in the course of conversation, Max very cleverly finds out through an employee of the bank that the tunnel was never closed from there. And one thing to notice here was that the bank card was always keeping an eye on Henry. After which they go inside the theater to see the tunnel again, and Julie is shocked to see Henry once again in the theater. She asks him, "Are you following me?" And here Max comes and saves Henry and says, "No, I too used to be a theater artist earlier and have acted in many plays of Shakespeare. I have many memories associated with this theater. I had come just to visit this." Julie agrees to his words and sends her assistant along with him to visit this theater. Max goes to see this theater with Julie's assistant, and here Henry and Julie start talking. Julie asks Henry what he does these days. So Henry tells her without lying that I have just come out of jail. Julie asks, "Did you commit murder?" Henry says no, it is a long story. I will tell it some other time. Here we see that Max had come to know that the tunnel is connected to the green room of the theater, and they had to secure that green room to dig that tunnel. But Henry did not have any such plan. When Max was discussing all this plan, then Henry was worried about only one thing, that how he was looking, because today he was going to have dinner with Julie. Max laughingly says, "You are looking the same as you always look." While having dinner, Julie tells that I want to become a very big actress. And when she asks Henry about his dream, Henry without any fear tells her clearly that his dream is to rob a bank. Julie gets shocked and asks him why. So today Henry tells her the whole story of how he went to jail despite being innocent, and he served the sentence for robbing his friends, and now since he has become famous as a bank robber, he thought, why not rob a bank in Real? Julie was surprised by both his intentions and his personality. On one hand he had such dangerous intentions, and on the other hand he had such a soft personality that he told Julie everything truthfully. Julie likes his honesty a lot. They spend the night together, and as soon as it is morning, Henry comes to Max's house with Julie. As soon as Max comes out of the washroom, he starts explaining his plan to him about how these people will enter the bank. But as soon as he comes out, he gets shocked seeing Julie. So Henry tells him to tell Max everything. Julie already knows everything. Max was a little angry about how he had told such a secret to someone else, i.e. Julie. Anyway, Julie suggests that it is necessary for you people to come to the theater daily to stay close to that tunnel. So why don't you people do one thing? Hold auditions there. But Max says no. The room we want is the green room of the hero of your play. So Max makes a plan, and the next day he goes inside that theater with Henry. There they come to know that everyone was already very worried because the main actor of the play, i.e. the hero, had run away from the play because he was getting a good offer from somewhere else. At such a time, Max asks Henry to act so that he can learn acting, but under Max's pressure, he also starts giving auditions here, and seeing his acting skills, they hire him as a hero. Later it is revealed that actually this whole plan was made by Maximum. Max had got that hero another offer from somewhere else, and Julie gets very angry after knowing this. Well, by doing this they got access to the green room, but after working for a few days, they come to know that digging this tunnel alone is not a task for these two. That is why they go and meet Joe, Henry's ex-wife's husband, who was also involved in robbery with Eddie earlier. He asks John, why do so much work? Pick up a gun and go and commit robbery. So Henry tells him that I am not a fool like you. Well, they keep working together on their plan to rob a bank, and at the same time we see that Henry's interest in acting had also increased a lot. Not because he needed money. He had to stay in the theater, but because he had to change his life and he was now enjoying acting and being with Julie. One day we see that these three are leaving the theater after digging till late night when the bank guard catches them from behind. He stops them and sits in their car. Looking at Henry, he says that I remember that you were with those robbers when the robbers robbed the bank, and this time I will not let anything go wrong. All these people get scared and ask the guard, what do you want? The guard tells him to keep driving. At a deserted place the guard stops the car and says, I am with you. I want to rob the bank. Hearing this, all of them get shocked and ask him why so. So the guard tells that I have served in this bank for 30 years. Some time ago my wife fell ill. When I asked for help from the bank, they refused to help me. They did not give me the insurance money, and this is how my wife died. I am going to retire after a month. And I want to take my revenge from the bank. He improves their plan even more. While telling the date and time on which the cash comes inside the bank, the thing that excited everyone was told by the guard that on that day the bank has cash worth about $100 crore dollars. I have told you the time. Apart from this, if you ever rob, I will consider you a fool. The guard tells them that I can help you from inside the bank in disabling the camera so that you people do not get caught later. Well, now the next day comes, and inside the theater, we are shown that even today the director was not at all satisfied with Julie's performance. He tells Julie that you cannot do this loving act because you have never loved anyone. If your heart was broken, then these emotions would have awakened inside you, and until your heart is not broken, you cannot become a good actress. Julie's heart breaks and she goes to her room and starts crying. Where Henry comes to her and asks her what happened. Julie tells him, yes, I agree that I have never loved anyone, but I want to become a good actress and I am also working hard for that. Here Henry comes close to her and says, you don't know that you love someone, but you don't know it yet. You could not express it to him, and see, the day you come to know this yourself, that day you will become a good actress. Well, now it is night and we see Henry at Max's house where they were discussing their final plan. A lot of preparations had been completed and the day was near when they had to rob the bank. While they were talking, there was a knock on their door. And it was seen that Joe as well as Eddie had come here, who had trapped Henry in the beginning of the movie. He comes with a very bossy attitude and tells them that I know your whole plan and now I am a part of this plan. Max gets up angrily and says, hey idiot, who are you? Then Eddie also angrily says, keep your voice down. I told you that now I am a part of this plan and I know everything. At that time Max slaps Eddie, and before their fight goes further, Enray comes in between and stops this whole fight. Well, the next day when they come to the theater, they come to know that the play for which they were rehearsing was also on the same day on which they had planned the robbery. Here from inside the tunnel from where these people were digging out the soil, Henry says to Mac that I don't think I will be able to do all this. I don't want to leave Julie because I have really started loving Julie. On hearing this, Max gets so angry that he shakes him and says that you got me out of jail for this nonsense of yours. My life was going on quite well there. He tells that I spent my whole life in jail on absurd charges. And now when I have gone and started committing a real crime, you are stopping me. Henry knew that he has included so many people in this plan. Now he cannot back out from this plan. That is why he goes to Julie and confesses that on the day of their opening show they will rob a bank and then he will leave everything and go from here. He was also asking Julie to come with him. But Julie, whose whole job was acting, was not ready to leave her play. Hearing this, Julie is completely torn and says, if you had to go and cheat me, then why did you promise me love? You just used me to get inside the theater. Yes, it is my fault. It is my fault that I trusted a thief like you. Julie was completely shattered and Henry had left from here after hearing all this. Finally, the day had come when they had to complete their plan. On the same day, all the preparations for the play are completed and it is shown that on the other side, that truck of cash had also arrived at the bank. We see that Henry had come fully prepared for the play. He performs a very amazing play and at the same time, whenever he was needed inside the tunnel, he also went there and helped in the robbery. We see that Caddy had cut the iron wall of the tunnel using a welding machine. The guard had already disabled the CCTV cameras and alarms here. These people were now comfortably inside the locker room, from where they packed all the cash in their bags and threw it down. Everything was going perfectly, but at the end point, Eddie betrayed them all. After coming to the theater room, Eddie points a gun at Max and says, "Give me all this money." Max was standing stunned at this time, wondering what is happening. Here Eddie tells him to take all this cash and go and keep it in his car. At the same time, Henry also arrives here. Before he could understand the situation here, Max takes advantage of the opportunity and attacks Eddie and beats him badly. Henry, who was trying to free him, also goes away when Max pushes him. Eddie's gun was also in Max's hands now. When Eddie tries to take his gun back from him, the gun accidentally fires and Henry gets shot in the leg. Despite being shot, he went back on stage because he did not want to run away without Julie. He realized that he cannot live without Julie. Julie tells Henry that you are bleeding. Henry says, "Leave it. Just listen to me. I want to tell you that I cannot live without you. That money does not matter to me. If there is anything more important for me, it is you." Julie was listening to all this in shock because she knew that Eddie was not saying this for the play. He was saying all this for real. All this was so natural and so good that the theater echoed with applause. The director also dimmed the lights and asked Julie to respond to all this. Julie did not say anything here but kept quiet about her life. She says yes to Henry with her expressions. Finally, Henry had found his life partner Julie and Max was going to give her the money after a few days, and the movie ends here showing all this.